ratings. We got them up through the ceiling like elevators. House of X in the building, so going crazy. This shit was made for television, pass the remote, baby. Now go and subscribe, comment, go live. Tell a friend to go and tell a friend. Make sure you tap in, cause we at it again. It's all entertainment, cause we stay entertained. Stay entertaining, yeah. Hey, we stay entertained. Hey, we stay entertained. Stay entertaining, yeah. Hey, we stay entertained. Hey, hey, turn me up a little, yeah. Hey, let me get a little more. They know who we at, man. Yeah. I stay entertained. Yeah.
Hey, you guys.
Hey.
Welcome to the House of X Entertainment.
Okay, where we stay entertaining.
I'm Winston.
And I'm Winston too, but the better looking one. Okay.
He is Leo.
All right.
I'll be
Leo.
All right, let's see who we have in the building.
Looks like lots of people.
Yes, we got it's your boy Leo.
Hey, Leo. Leo is a gaming channel. Amazing content. Grab him. Subscribe to his channel immediately. Waste no time, I tell you. Waste no time.
All right. We got It's Me Winston in the building.
Hey, Winston, with your big ass head.
How are you? Welcome in. All right, and we have a new family member. Hey, Jane, how you doing?
Hey.
Welcome in, Jane.
You do realize that's Jean, right?
Jean.
Like Jean Grey?
I'm sorry,
like
Jean.
the X-Men? I'm going to need you to get with it, Miss Mary.
Hey, Jean, how you doing, Jean girl? Yes. Welcome in, and we have Growing with the Gardener.
Hey, gardeners, is you really gardening?
Oh, no.
All right now.
We miss y'all. Miss you, too.
Oh, stop it.
All right, and we have, hey, Diana.
Hey.
Marie TV, welcome in.
She said she on the big screen.
And we have Monty in the building.
Hey, Monty.
Hey. All right, Gene is saying hello. Hey, Gene. All right, and we have DC on Demand.
Hey, DC on Demand. How are you doing?
Yes, he will be on the show tomorrow, y'all.
You don't say.
I do say.
He does say, honey.
All right, good. How are you? We are doing fabulous.
We hanging in there, you know. Can't complain.
Yes. And we have the G family. Hey, welcome in.
Yes.
Shout out to the G family in the building.
I hope everyone is taking care of themselves. My allergies are on 10 right now. They've been on 10 all day, child.
Yes, make sure you guys.
This weather is killing me. What about you?
Mine's too.
All right now.
Make sure you guys share out.
Yes, tell a friend that the House of X is on.
Yes, y'all looking good. Oh,
Thank you. Watson actually picked out what we were wearing tonight.
All right.
We take turns on picking up.
What's going on, brothers and everybody in the chat? Yes, welcome in, Miss Nisi. How you doing?
How are you?
All right, guys, make sure you connect with our guests tonight.
Yes,
okay, we have
welcome in.
an amazing guest coming to us, guys. An amazing guest. You guys are gonna get some knowledge on being an entrepreneur, starting your own business from scratch. All right, guys. So you guys are gonna get some great knowledge on tonight. Welcome in.
Yes, don't forget to press the like button as you come in, because it's all about the like button. Okay.
All right. Thank you all so much for being here. Yes. All right. We got Jean in the building. Shout out to Jean Gray. All right. Yes. Welcome in, Jean. Okay.
Yes.
And we have none other than Mr. It's your boy Leo in the building.
Okay.
Yes, guys.
If you have a community tab, share us out.
Mm-hmm.
Share us out with everybody.
Today was a long day for us, guys, because I had to go and do an event.
It was a long day for you.
Yes, we got Jagged Little Edge in the building.
Hey, how
welcome
are you?
In. He said, hello, beautiful people.
Oh, stop it. Compliments will get you everywhere around here, I tell you.
How are you? Thank you for coming in.
Yes. Don't forget to share us out. Share us out with your doctor.
Yes.
Share us out with your best friends. Share us out with your cousins.
Share us out with your brothers and sisters.
Share us out with your aunts.
And your doctors.
I said doctors already. I'm going to need you to pay attention, honey. Okay?
Your lawyers.
Yes. Share us out with your lawyers.
And your
share us out with the dentist, honey, okay?
The dentist?
Yeah. Yes.
What's
wrong with the dentist? He wants to watch the House of X too.
Oh.
Ain't nothing wrong with the dentist, honey.
The G family said, period.
Okay.
Hey, we got Rudy and Essential Oils in the building.
Okay, do you really got my oils or nah?
Yes, welcome
not
in.
you, Leo. Oh, not you. Okay.
Welcome in.
That's not very nice. You got to be nice to Leo too, okay? Or you can go in timeout, sir. Do you want to go in timeout? I don't think you want to be timed out.
Not time out.
Okay, we do timeout on this channel.
Oh no.
Okay.
Okay, welcome in.
But yes, it was a long day for Watson. He had to perform, so he's been outside all day.
I have.
Okay.
I really have.
Outside all day in the hot sun.
I really have.
Okay.
I really have. But you know, that's the line of work. You got to push through.
Okay, he got to make his coin, honey. He got to make his coin.
Yes,
which is good.
And
I could use the coin. Okay.
And shout out to all the moms that are in the building. Please.
Yeah, shout out to everybody being here. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Yes, please drop our guest's link that's in the chat, guys.
Yes, make sure you connect with them. They got a YouTube channel too. Okay.
YouTube channel, website, and Instagram.
Okay, they said they got all that. They got all that. They all around the world.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Shout out to the people that might catch this on the replay.
Yes.
Okay. Let's round of applause to the replay. Okay.
Okay. Is you ready to bring up our lovely guest?
Well, this is their first time being here. They got to stay back there for 10 more hours, child.
10 hours.
10 more hours, child.
10 hours.
They got the sweat.
You gonna make them sweat?
They got the sweat, honey.
Oh my gosh. Okay, guys. So, are you ready to bring up our guest on this evening?
Yes, if you are ready for the guest, put an X in the chat.
Yes.
Okay, throw your X up, throw your X up.
Okay.
Throw your X up, throw your X up. Hey,
yes.
Throw your X up, throw your X up.
Okay, guys. So introducing.
Wait a minute. Do you see an X yet? I ain't see an X yet. Give them a second.
They're gonna put it up in a minute.
Okay.
You have a whole bunch of yeses and clapping.
Okay, but that's not an X. I said throw your X up.
Okay.
I'm gonna need them to listen to the instructions. Okay?
We have X's. Okay. I'm ready to watch my dear friends. Yes, Gene says bring them up.
Okay, Gene said, listen, we ain't got time for all that.
Yes.
Bring the people up, child.
Yes.
Okay, now I see the X's.
Okay.
See, that's good. That means we're listening.
Yes.
We're listening.
And
okay?
also, guys, if you have questions, make sure you put an X in front of your question so that
we know it's the question.
Yes.
Everything is an X here for anybody who is new.
Yeah.
Okay, if you have a question, the X goes first, then the question.
Yeah.
You know?
So
everything is X. We live in the Bronx. That has an
yes.
X. Our favorite cartoon is, mine is X-Men. That comes from the X. Okay.
Yes.
The company of the name is House of X. You know, just life is complete when you have an X in your life. Okay?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Welcome in. We got JNS Adventures. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in.
Hey,
JNS Adventures.
Okay, you come on in. Come on in.
Welcome in. We will see them soon.
Okay, they said they coming to New York City.
Yes. Welcome in.
Say.
Welcome in. Welcome in. Yes.
All right now.
Welcome in. Welcome
now,
in.
Are they gonna be on their best behavior when they come to see us?
Yes,
all
they
right.
are.
We got On Deck with CB. Hey, On Deck with CB.
Hey, On Deck with CB.
If you guys don't know, they are in charge of our cruise. Okay, so if you want to book through them, go ahead and book through them. Don't play no games. Are y'all coming to turn up with Leo or no? Okay. Miss Mary, what are you doing?
Sorry. Hey, On Deck with CB. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in.
Oh, they said no, they're not going to be on their best behavior.
Oh,
that's
Lord.
not good. That is not good.
They're going to be in New York, Leo.
So they still got to be well behaved, child.
Oh,
Let me
shit.
tell you something. New York is very busy. Very busy. Okay. Fast paced, overpopulated, lots of people. Child. We live in a place where, you know, people wear expensive sneakers. They get stepped on, they're ready to fight you, okay? Now, I don't get why people run around with expensive sneakers on, but that's just me.
All right.
Not if you got to take trains and buses, honey. You need to go get you a car.
Yes. Okay. So, guys, we are going to introduce our guest this evening, guys. Bring it to the stage. We love these lovely couple and this business, guys. We had the pleasure of meeting them at Big Apple Comic Con. That was last year, right? Last year at Big Apple Comic Con.
Not you know what year we in. Yes, that
last year at
December.
Big Apple Comic Con. They are such a humbling, loving couple, and their business. We love them so much. So, guys, after this commercial, we're going to bring to the stage Jjl Collectibles.
Okay, get your collectibles.
Hey, turn me up a little. Yeah. Let me get a little more. They know who we at, man. Yeah. I know stay entertained.
Welcome, y'all. This is Jason and Jackie with Jjl Collectibles. We're here at Cosmic-Con right now, and we got some dope stuff, and we can't wait for our interview on June 15th with y'all, and can't wait to meet a whole bunch of new people.
Stay entertaining, yeah. Hey, we stay entertained. Hey, we stay entertained.
Bring it to the stage, guys. Jjl Collectibles.
Hey,
welcome in,
everybody.
Welcome in. And we have.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're welcome.
You come back anytime.
We got Cruising is Fun anytime. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us. It's an honor. It really is. We appreciate it, y'all.
Anytime. So are you guys ready?
Yep.
Yes.
Jason and Jackie are ready.
All right. Okay. I like that name, Jason and Jackie.
That's what the J and the J are for in the collective.
How you know that? He could have just made,
What else would it stand for, Mary?
It could have stand for anything else.
Now we just gotta figure out what the L is.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
All right. I think you got the first one.
We just subscribed. Yes, thank you for subscribing to them. Okay, so I have the first question?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Janice.
Thanks,
Thank you very
guys.
much. We will bring more stuff to y'all. I'll explain to y'all why we kind of took a little pause later on.
Okay, so the first question is, don't overthink it. Take a deep breath in. Just be yourself. You know what I mean? Exactly. So the first question is, what inspired you to be an entrepreneur and start your own business?
Yes, great question. So for me, obviously, my love story with comic books began when I was a child. I had my pops wasn't around, so my uncle kind of raised me like he was my dad. And he would take me every Wednesday to a comic book shop in Lorimer Street in Brooklyn, because I grew up in Williamsburg.
Okay.
And my first comic book was X-Men, actually. And and my brother actually taught me. He had said, hey, man, just so you know, X-Men is pretty much like about us. It's about a group of people, minority, that is kind of not exactly looked up upon. They look down upon. And it's kind of like similar to the struggle that you and I kind of grow up in, because, we were raised in the projects of Williamsburg. And so my love story began with comic books there, and my uncle fueled it. That man spent his last penny on books every Wednesday. I would literally come home with like 10, 15, 20 books a week to read.
Oh, wow.
My brother would make me buy, or make my uncle buy, sophisticated books, like mature books. So I'm like 9, 10 years old, and I'm reading books for 18, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds. My mom would go by and see some of the pictures, and some of it was very graphic. A lot of crazy stuff in the pictures. And so my mom would be like, what are you reading? And I'd be like, Joey said I could read it, because my brother was like, he's untouchable. If I mention my brother's name, I could do anything at any time. So we go out late at night, and I would say, oh, Joey said I can go. So it's hilarious, because you bring up my brother's name, and pretty much I was allowed to do anything. So my love story started there, and I've been reading ever since and collecting ever since. And I think that's where we kind of win so well as a team at comic conventions and stuff. So I worked in retail for 20 plus years. I was a manager, district manager. So the business aspect of studying P&L documents, which are profit and loss documents, and studying numbers and studying people and studying customer service, it kind of all came full circle about maybe a year ago, where I was at a job. I was running the city bike operations in New York City, and I just wasn't happy. I wasn't happy with what was happening with, my people. I ran about maybe 50 employees, and I just didn't like how they were being treated in different aspects of the business. Certain things I just couldn't touch because I wasn't the owner.
Yeah. And
so one day, man, and Jackie we had just moved to Pennsylvania, and Jackie was driving with me every day to New York, an hour and a half.
Wow.
Coming. We almost built a desk for her in the car, because she didn't want to come to my office or my area, and I rarely was in the office. I was always in the field, or I was always with the mechanics in the warehouse, learning about the bikes and stuff. So she was like, I'm just going to stay in the car. And I would tell her, just stay home. And she's like, no, because you come home around 7, 8 o'clock at night, and I fear that you're going to crash, God forbid, because I know you work really hard. Mm-hmm. So it was a Friday, and I got out. I came to the car. I said, honey, I quit. And she was like, what? And I said, yeah. She goes, then you need to focus on that business full time. So she kind of pushed me, and we had done Comic-Cons for a while already, and we had, I had eBay sales. I've been on eBay since like 2012. So for like 11 years, I've been selling books.
Yeah.
And so now it's become more, now it's a business. And for me, what I love is getting these books into people's hands, these wonderful stories, these wonderful characters, and books that people are looking for that they can't find for certain prices. I'll find them. And when we visit New York, we deliver books to people personally. We have a lot of great clientele, a lot of great supporters along this journey. So we decided to make it full time. So we LLC'd out here in PA, something I wanted to do in New York for so long, but it was a little simpler out here. Yeah. And we took our show on the road, and we looked for Comic-Cons every weekend to build our brand out. And Jackie has been so pivotal in the merchandising of it, the shirts. I didn't think about getting shirts together and the presentation and pushing to open up the website, learn a little coding to add some spice to the website. So that was the birth of Jjl Collectibles, Jackie and Jason Lopez Collectibles.
Okay. Now we know what the L is for. I see. I was paying attention. Yeah,
I see. So So when we met, around that time,
shout out to Jackie for the presentation.
Yeah, in December.
That's a businesswoman. She was thinking 10 steps ahead.
In December, were you still working retail, or you had stopped?
I want to say it was right towards the end. I want to say it was either within a week of that happening.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And it's funny because, y'all, I've been in the industry for so long. I wouldn't say it's easy for me to find something, but it wouldn't be too difficult. I literally have such a great team of people that raised me in that industry throughout my life. Delani Atkinson, Rashawn Shabazz, so many people that have taken care of me that I said to myself, we didn't look for nothing. I didn't go out looking for anything, and I just stuck to it. And Jackie kind of pushed me to say, you know what, let's see what we can make of this, and can we own it? And we owned it ever since. So yeah, that was probably within the same time that we left, and I never went back to that world. And it's been amazing just owning and kind of making our own decisions. And our only boss, obviously, are our supporters and our customers. I'll never not say we don't need them, because we're nothing without those people that spend whether 50 cents, $1, or $500 or $1,000 on a book. It doesn't matter. Those people are what make us, and we'll always be indebted to them.
I know that's right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Do I have the next person?
Yeah, you do.
Oh. So the next question is, what is the best con you've attended that you sold the most of your collectibles of comics?
That's a good question.
Collection of comics.
I have to ask you to kind of chime in, not chime in, but what, because we've had some great ones. Which one do you think are most fulfilling as far as, and even with sales?
Maybe Super Jersey.
Yeah, I would say Super Jersey. Okay, you know what? So Super Jersey Comic-Con. Shout out to Super Jersey Comic-Con coming this October. So,
oh wow.
It was so we did that last year, or I think it was November, and it was just nonstop rush. So I will tell you, I love busy. I love being busy, and I love working. So when it comes to Comic-Cons, being busy and working equates. It's the same thing. Like to the point, Jackie was like, "Hey, I got this sale, and I'm cashing somebody out, giving change out," and there was like at least 6, 7, 8 people at the table at the same time. And, we were connecting with people. Like, I'm a fan of a writer named Ed Brubaker. And Ed Brubaker is not your normal writer that people know about in this game. But I will tell y'all, Ed Brubaker created the Winter Soldier in Captain America. And that was one of the best runs ever of Captain America, which I wasn't a big fan of growing up of Captain America. So we had a customer, and he was like, "Oh, you know about Ed Brubaker?" I was like, "Do you know about Ed Brubaker?" And he looked at me, and I said, "Yeah, man, I have everything that Ed Brubaker's ever written." So for him to buy these books that they weren't selling at all for like a year, and I will say I've learned in this industry that obviously people love to consume the Marvel and DC. I grew up more independent. Image, remember back in '93 when Image was created, it was created by disgruntled Marvel and DC writers and artists.
Yeah.
So when Image came out, I fell in love with it because that came out. I'm 10 years old at that time, right? So am I aging myself? I'm 10 years old. I'm 10 years old in 93. Y'all do the math yourselves later on. And I'm looking at Image and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So most of my collection, thousands of books, were Image books. So to see people connect with these independent books that I grew up reading was really dope. And we definitely cleared, over $2,000 in sales that one day, close to $2,000 in sales. But what was amazing was it's, again, like I told y'all earlier, how I look at the dollar per ticket, or I look at the visits per transaction, or how many items per transaction. And obviously in a Comic-Con, you're thinking usually 1-2 items per transaction. And I want to say we saw 2 to 3. And again, it don't matter, right? It could be 3 $1 books, but it's still amazing that we met all these people. And we also created some wonderful relationships with people that follow us on Instagram now, message me if they needed things. And we still have like this cool little dope extended family that we see and come to other Comic-Cons. And a lot of people we met at that Super Jersey came to other Comic-Cons in Philadelphia and New York and New Jersey. So Super Jersey, because it was a one-day event, it was a one and done. My mom was there, so that was cool. And we found out later on that my mom pretty much supplied 75% of our Christmas gifts from that Comic-Con.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
Pillows come out from that Comic-Con. We saw pops come out from that Comic-Con, and she had a really good time. So I definitely would say Super Jersey was one of our favorites, but Cosmic-Con does this really well. Scranton Comic-Con, other Comic-Cons, but Super Jersey, that one-day event, it was fun. It was fun, and it gave us a lot of great relationships.
I know that's right.
Wow, that's amazing.
I didn't realize there were a lot of cons until I got to Instagram, and you see people in their costumes, and each person was at a different con, and I was like, oh wow, this is like a worldly thing. Like there's a con every day somewhere.
So it's funny you say that, because when this was around summertime last year, when I was looking at it, I found a website called fancons.com. And fancons.com literally lists every single Comic-Con across the world.
Oh, wow.
Really?
You got to send me that.
So what I did was I just started looking at Comic-Cons. And again, we're smart, we're strategic. Again, I'm a young man. I'm a young man growing up Brooklyn, New York, all the way. I live in Pennsylvania. I drive through New Jersey to get to New York when I'm working. Jackie's from Boston. So it's like we literally can hold down any state possible because I'm so used to traveling. So it's like we'll go to any con within those 4 to 5 states. So we literally can fill a con every weekend. And that's kind of like our bread and butter right now as we build the website and build more of a clientele and maybe get a store in the future.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to turn it over to the audience because we do have one question from the audience.
Yes, we have a question from Jean.
Okay, you better come through, Jean. Come through.
She says, when are we getting that physical location?
So, great question, because I asked myself that question. One of the main things that we're looking at is I'm looking at obviously the overhead costs. You got to pay the light bill, got to pay the gas, got to pay the electric, the rent and all that different stuff. So we're just trying to figure out what is the best, obviously, timing too, because this pandemic that we passed, unfortunately, we still feel remnants of that pandemic every day.
Yeah.
And also the market itself and the world is still reeling from, we got that war happening, obviously, in Ukraine and Russia that hurts us financially here. So we're still kind of really thinking about at what point can we kind of almost like double dutch, right? When do you get in? Yeah. And right now, I'm guessing we'll open up a store when we have to at this point, where people are submitting a lot of books. That's one of the things that's happening since we became a CGC dealer. People love submitting books. And obviously, my books, I don't know sometimes if I want to, send my books to a stranger. Obviously, you want to bring your book to a store and say, oh, you, Jason, you, Jackie, here's my books. What do y'all think? Yeah. So that's something that's kind of been doing really well for us. But if it gets to the point where people are dropping off 100, 200 books a week, I might not be able to intake that in the truck when I'm going back home. So honestly, we're thinking about overhead. We're thinking about location. That's a big thing too, because obviously I want everyone from the different states to come to our store. So to answer that, it'd be indefinite at the moment, unless there was 100% need to do it because we need to, have a location physically to intake all this massive product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know yet, and I don't know if it's in this financial climate if it's something that we can really do. But again, y'all, jjlcollectibles.com. We're doing pre-orders there. We're working on adding inventory to that. We're working on adding so many different things. I want jjlcollectibles.com to be really big for people to come and buy their books, collectibles, and sell their books and collectibles. So for now, staying with that on that vibe, and then just trying to figure out indefinitely when we can open up a brick and mortar.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for answering.
Yeah. Welcome in, Miss Janice.
And that was a good question from Gene.
Yeah. Welcome in, Miss Janice. How you doing?
Hey.
Okay. So, when buying comic books, how do you know what will sell and what will not sell?
Good question.
Great question. So I will tell y'all a lot of it is intuition for me. I've been in this game for a long time, and for the most part, I just feel when I know something's going to be big or not. So, like for example, we spoke about Supergirl.
Yeah.
Woman of Tomorrow, right? So this book here, $4 book when it first came out, and written by a gentleman named Tom King, another great writer, a writer who pours his heart into these stories and just brings a certain sense of realism to obviously a person that can shoot laser beams out of their eyes and like crush humans with their pinky toe.
Yeah.
So, Tom King, I knew that this was going to be big. So I had bought a lot of sets of it. And again, this is about a year ago when this book came out. It's a wonderful book. It's literally about a young girl who gets her parents killed by a bounty hunter. And she's searching all over her world, because this is it's not Earth, it's a different world, and trying to get someone to accept her little dagger as a payment to kill the bounty hunter. So she goes to these different bars, and she's like not afraid of anything. She'll curse you out. You could be big, looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, and she's like, "Oh, you don't want to help me? Then I don't. Then fudge you. I'm out." And she just gives all types of sass. And at one point she sees, okay, this dude's takes the dagger from her and just starts walking out the bar. And he's like, "Yeah, thanks for the cute dagger. I'm taking this and I ain't doing nothing for you." Supergirl stops this dude and just wrecks him. And so the little girl starts chasing Supergirl, saying, "Hey, I want you to kill the bounty hunter." And Supergirl's like, "Nah, I just came here to have a drink on my 21st birthday, and I'm trying to go back on my ship with my dog back to Earth." And so the girl's like, "No, you're gonna do it." And the girl literally swims across an ocean to follow Supergirl to her ship. So she gets to her ship and she's like, "Yo, you're gonna kill this guy and I'm gonna give you this dagger, and that's what is gonna happen." And Supergirl's like, "Nah." The guy comes out of nowhere, shoots an arrow at Supergirl and affects her. And Supergirl realizes, holy crap, I'm vulnerable on this world.
Yeah.
And the guy shoots her dog, and the dog goes gets paralyzed, goes in a coma. And Supergirl's like, "Okay, now you mess with my dog, I'm gonna get you." So the bounty hunter escapes, and the 8 issues is literally the girl narrating, watching Supergirl chase this guy across the galaxy, and this guy is killing whole worlds as he's traveling the world, and she's following him, killing races. And it becomes racial at one point, about a certain race that he just wiped out, and why did you wipe out that race? Yeah. And the girl's studying Supergirl, I'm watching Supergirl, and people don't realize that the same person that takes lasers out of her eyes is the most caring and forgiving, most beautiful person in the world.
Yeah.
Pretty much that book, I knew it was going to be big. And literally a few months later, they announced that Supergirl is going to be in the in the Flash movie.
Yeah.
So the girl that shows up, we'll answer that one. So the girl that shows up in the movie is her. So this book goes from being worth $5-10 to worth $50, $60, $70. So for me, I literally woke up in the middle of the night. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night. I read comicbookresources.com, and I read different things that are happening in the comic book world. Literally I wake up every day at 3, 4 in the morning, and I read about the industry and what books are big, what's coming out. Also, another great thing is y'all want to look at what books go to a second and third print, meaning that they bought all the first prints and they didn't make enough first prints. So those first prints are going to be worth a lot of money. So, we have that at our advantage. I read a lot as well. So one of the big reasons why we haven't been on YouTube is because I like to talk about stories, but because of all these cons, I haven't been able to read. So the last 2 days, I literally read about maybe 150 books.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I literally read. And because of the Comic Cons, I read Marvel, DC, Image, I read everything. And so for me, it's a mixture of studying the game, and looking at what's going to be hot. But I'm also not a flash in the pan kind of guy. There's a lot of people out there, a lot of vendors, and even comic book store owners and comic book people that they just really go for the kill, and they look for those really high end books or high expensive books that are going to give them a great profit or do something big for them. I look at everything. So, I'll look at the industry, I'll read on things, but mostly I would say I read a lot of books and I just have a great intuition. Like I'll feel when I read a story and I'll go, oh crap, this story is going to be big. So I'm gonna buy a couple copies of this. I'm gonna hold on to it. I'm gonna get it graded. Because also for me as a reseller as well, because that's another label you would put on me is I get books and I resell them.
Yeah.
So for me, when I buy a book from, let's say, a vendor, or I buy a book from a comic book store, sometimes it's a fight within myself, because I say, darn it, I'm gonna buy your book for $4 and then I'm gonna go sell it for $8, $9, and sometimes I say to myself, how do I make it my book? So I get it graded. So now I'll take a $4, $5, $7 book. When I get that book graded, now it's a Jjl Collectibles book. It's not a book that we bought from someone to give to someone else. And we try not to, even though the game is the game, and vendors will buy books from each other. I love when a book finds its forever home with a young man or young lady or older man, older, whatever it may be, and it's their book and it's going to stay in their family for 10, 15 years, and then someone's going to sell it because it's worth thousands of dollars. So that's where the love I have for, where I want this book to end up in a home where, wow, like this story, I can relate to it. I love this story. And that's how I find my books, is just reading the stories, looking at the news, looking at the trends, looking at the market. But at the end of the day, it's about reading the stories and looking at that beautiful art and who's going to blow up, and how, as a vendor or a collectibles person, is going to be able to release that to the world for people to be able to buy it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you.
We have another question from the audience. From
Jean.
Okay, you better come through, Jean, with the question.
She said, what member of X-Men do you relate to the most and why?
Oh, wow.
That's a great question. Obviously people, for me, the first thing I would think about is who's my favorite. That's awesome. That's who's my favorite. But I never thought about who I related to the most. That's a really good question. And for me, I would say, it'd be Cyclops, and I'll say because Cyclops was taken in by Professor X, right? Y'all know about that.
Yeah.
And for me, Cyclops, for the most part, a lot of them didn't know their dads, or their dads just didn't want to mess with them. And so for me growing up, I didn't have my dad, right? My father, very, very rare. I even got to see him, but I was able to get taken in by my uncle. So my uncle was my Professor X, in that my uncle taught me everything. He taught me the ropes. He taught me how to be polite. He taught me how to hold the door for people when I walk through the, he literally, I might not believe me, but my hair used to be down to like my butt, right? I had
really?
And
I remember many years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, my hair was really long. And I remember I went to go through the door, and my uncle grabbed me by my hair and he yanked me back. And he said, you don't go inside this door until everybody else goes in first. And those type of manners, that type of respect that he taught me as a man, as a human being, I took that in from him. So I would, I never thought about this question. I never answered this question in my life. And I never was a big fan of Cyclops, but I can honestly say I relate to Cyclops because he didn't have that father figure. And I think that's a big reason as to why sometimes, because I don't know if y'all know, but Cyclops went really bad sometimes because he was just so off the Richter, because he just didn't know who to look to. And I think growing up as a child, I didn't know who to look to until I started to realize, okay, I get to look to everybody. And then at this point, as I got older, I don't have to look to meet people too much because I kind of know how to make my own decisions now. I don't really need the affirmation of people. And Cyclops always needed Professor X's affirmation.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where he didn't need it no more. And I, at that point where, I can't wait to raise children with, my fiance and say, hey guys, you know, I'm your dad and I can be here, but you can go wherever you need. But at some point, you ain't gonna need me for too long because y'all gonna be able to have all the answers yourselves.
Yeah.
So that's
Sure. Do you have a favorite member of X-Men?
Wolverine.
Oh, you like Wolverine?
All day long, man. All day long. Is X-Men number 206, if I'm not mistaken, is a cover of Wolverine, like his claws coming down the cover. And that was the first book that my uncle ever put me on. My brother also was a big part of my life, put me onto. And it was his favorite. Wolverine was his favorite. So, and just how Wolverine had that healing factor and motherfucking claws coming out of his thing. And you're like, what? Like, who's this guy? And then he's like a little gangster. He's looking back to people. So for me, yeah. And then he was like, again, I would say I relate to Wolverine, but I don't really relate because I'm not a loner. But I thought it was dope to see this loner and how he reacted to the world. Oh, that's awesome.
Appropriate on all comics need, but just awesome, period. I know that's right.
Thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in.
Yes, thank you for being here.
Velasquez Photos.
Vasquez Photo 71.
Thank you so much for coming in.
I'm going to just call you 71.
Welcome.
That's his human name. What's 71?
Okay, so the next question is, what are some of your favorite comics to read?
Oh man, so we're gonna get a little independent on y'all. Killer Be Killed. You ever heard of that book?
No.
It sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
And Killer Be Killed is written by Ed Brubaker and drawn by Sean Phillips, which is dope within itself because Ed Brubaker is this white writer from Cali, and Sean Phillips is white artist from like England. Okay. I don't even know how they got connected, but they literally like are the most greatest team in the world. But I'll make Killer Be Killed really fast for y'all. It's this dude who he goes to visit like his parents. He's in college, and at some point he's looking through like old memorabilia, and he sees like this demon, and this demon tells him, "You will die if you don't kill someone once a month."
Oh wow!
So he literally, this demon visits him, you know, every issue or sometimes every other issue in the mirror, and towards the middle of the book, you start to see that he has psychological mental issues. And you ask yourself, does he see a demon or is that just him? Is he a serial killer? And up until the last issue, you don't really know if it's a demon that's telling him to kill people or it's him making that decision. So for me, it was a great play on obviously mental health issues, as well as that supernatural vibe. And Ed Brubaker does a wonderful job with that because he's always, he actually does a really good job of taking supernatural themes, mixing them with real themes, but also mixing them with like crime noir.
Yeah.
Like school, like, you know, Tubby hit him in the face with his knuckles and stuff like that. So for me, like Killer Be Killed is one of my favorites. Ed Brubaker, one of my favorites. X-Men, I grew up reading X-Men. At one point, y'all, I owned every single X-Men book ever made.
Really?
And that was quite a journey. That was like a journey. It was back in 2017, 2018 when I was trying to collect the rest of it. I didn't know Wolverine had like 7 series. I didn't know X-Men had like 6 series. So I was hunting every single book. And we're talking about over 2,000 books, you know, with the X logo on it.
Wow.
And me, you know, X-Men again was a big deal. Obviously, the struggles between Magneto and Professor X. And I just thought it was dope that at some point, I think recently in the last few years, they had said, well, Professor X is like Martin Luther King and Magneto is like Malcolm X. They both want the same type. They just want to be not left alone, but they want the best for their communities.
Yeah.
Magneto just wants to fudge stuff up. And Professor X wants to do things in a peaceful way. So for me, you know, X-Men, Killer Be Killed, Supergirl was a really great book. Right now, what I'm reading, one of my favorite books I'm reading right now would probably be Monarch. Have y'all heard of Monarch?
Monarch.
You have to show me a picture of it.
Can you? Let me see if I can get one real quick.
You good?
Yeah, I actually been reading it. Actually, I think I have it here.
Probably up here, yeah.
The hunt is the best part. Oh no, I'm reading the comments. Do you have a favorite character of X-Men?
Who, me?
No.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I will tell y'all, Jackie, man, she don't read none of this stuff. She doesn't partake in this culture, but she supports the crap out of me.
Okay.
And I will say, you know, she's tried to read a couple things. I think one of her favorite books is 8 Billion Genies.
Yeah.
And that's another funny story. Yeah. But Monarch is actually, check out this art.
Oh wow, that is hot.
So Monarch is written by Rodney Barnes, who's actually a very famous writer in the space of I want to say Don't Be a Menace to Society and movies like that, those classic movies. He's been a part of, like written in them and everything. And so he decided to actually start writing comic books, which is really dope because he has a book called Philadelphia, which is about Philadelphia.
Yeah.
He has a book called Nita Hawes' Blog. So his latest book is Monarch. And what's dope is it's this young, dope black genius. Like this little kid is a genius. It's in Compton. And he's just going to school. They show him going to school. And you're like, where's this going? This little kid going to school. And these aliens come out of nowhere and just start wrecking the planet.
Oh, wow.
So he's like, what's going on? Like he's like trying to figure things out. And around the second or third issue, they beam him up and they talk to him. They're like, yeah, we've been asking you to like figure this out before we start killing everybody. So you find out that this kid is one of the aliens and they sent him down to pretty much prepare the world, figure out what you want to do with what people and things like that. Who's going to be this? Who's going to be that? Or we're just going to wipe this crap out. And so he's like, no, I fell in love with them. And it's just a dope book. And it's just cool how it's this inner city kid, you know, from Compton that we're thinking is just regular dope little genius. But he's actually like this alien that like is in love with humanity. So it's up to like issue 4 now. And I'm still working on reading more about it. But that's probably one of my great books. So as you can see, I love books that like make you think, you know, obviously. There's some great books out there like Miles Morales or X-Men or books that just smash and bash, you know, beat 'em ups and, you know, cool stuff, new appearances and trying to save the world. But when you see books like Monarch and they take that realism and they take these kids that I grew up familiar looking at myself when I was, you know, growing up in Brooklyn, I say, you know what, I got to read that book because he looked like one of my homeboys, Ronald, that I knew back when I was a kid. It was cool seeing that, you know. So that's what I'm reading now. But as you can see, that's the type of books I like. I like books that kind of spark your mind.
Okay. All right. We have a question from the audience.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. X. L. The Beckers does everything right.
Oh, I think that Ed Brubaker, the writer, that pretty much I think Wanson had walked away when we were talking a little bit about Ed Brubaker and Kill or Be Killed and one of my favorite books and stuff like that. So I think Gene's just making a statement probably there.
Oh, yeah, that was a statement.
All right.
You're all caught up. You had said, because I was over there coming back, you said you had every comic book that was X-Men?
Yeah.
Okay. I used to have every toy that was X-Men when I was little.
I love them toys, man. There was like 10 different Wolverines, though. Remember that?
Yeah. I used to get from the hair store.
Oh, wow. Gene says, have you ever read DMZ?
So, no, I haven't. You know what's crazy? I'll tell you a cool little thing about this. DMZ, if I'm not mistaken, was part of Vertigo. And so back in the 90s, DC Comics, they did Batman, Superman, you know, the stuff. So they decided that they wanted to build an imprint or create an imprint that's a little more mature, and it was very writer focused. And just so y'all know, Vertigo is where Sandman came from. And y'all see Sandman on Netflix?
Yeah.
That's a great story. Scalped came from Vertigo. Scalped was literally about an Indian reservation and all the crazy things that happens on Indian reservations that we obviously don't know about. You know, sex, drugs, murder, and how it stays in that community. It does not make its way out. It was a really great series. And DMZ is also a book from that series that I never got to read. Sweet Tooth. Have y'all heard of Sweet Tooth from Netflix?
Mm-hmm. When you said Sweet Tooth, you know what I thought of? I thought of that video game. I think it's with the cars and they shoot. I think it's something with a T.
Oh, Twisted Metal.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I think Sweet Tooth was the name of the clown.
Yeah.
So Sweet Tooth is is a show on Netflix about like this kid who was born with the features of a deer.
Oh, wow.
And what's crazy is this world is like apocalyptic world, and they're searching for this kid because everyone's dying from breathing in like this mist, but they realize that this kid is the only kid who's a hybrid that does not die from that type of interaction with the mist. So they're all searching for the kid. So that happened on Vertigo, and DMZ happened on Vertigo. So yeah, I should check out DMZ on HBO Max. Actually, there's a show about it that I've been wanting to watch, but I think I keep falling asleep because I keep trying to watch it late at night. And that's the problem. Don't watch late at night because you're gonna fall asleep, especially if you're laying in bed. But no, unfortunately, I'm sorry, y'all. I have not read DMZ, but I do want to read it.
Okay.
Wow.
I think the last thing I seen Spider-Man. Somebody put me onto The Boys. That's how I know about A-Train.
Yeah, The Boys
at Comic-Con.
And you know what's crazy?
African American characters, and he was like letting me know that there were new characters out there, and I was like, I've never heard of A-Train. So when I got home, I googled it, and I was like, oh, a T-shirt. I mean, a TV series. I was like, okay.
But you know what's crazy too? The Boys is one of the very few shows or movies where the show is better than the comic book.
Yeah.
Many people have said that. So it's not just me saying it. I've heard it from many people. They're like, I'd rather watch the show than read it. The comic book is dope, but I'd rather watch the show because the show is so off the wall. Jackie,
I think they killed off a couple of too many characters, though. I was like,
yeah,
these characters y'all could have kept around a little longer. They were good characters, but
yeah, you know, there's some.
They'll make new characters.
But quick funny story. I was watching The Boys at one point where there was, y'all know there's a lot of weird scenes in that show.
Yeah.
Jackie was like,
I've seen it. I don't think Watson hasn't seen it.
Yeah, and you relate to this, Leo, when I say Jackie was like, "What are you watching? What is this?" And I'm just like, just don't worry about it. It's weird, but it makes sense.
Yeah. That was my first thought. I was like, wait, what am I watching exactly? Because I had so many different scenes in it. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's freaky.
Right. I'm assuming they're supposed to be like DC Justice League or Super Friends, either one.
Wait, what say that again? What's that question again?
No. Oh, go ahead.
No, Leo, what were you saying?
No, I'm saying the 7 is supposed to be like Super Friends or Justice League.
Exactly. It's like a spoof of them, pretty much. Like, you got the Aquaman dude who's really weird.
Yeah,
100%. His gills like.
What is his powers anyway? Does he even do anything?
Nah, he just swims in water and crap like that. He talks with the fish, but he does weird stuff with the fish too. I don't even
And I was just like, he's gonna need some powers, or they're gonna have to write him off because he is like the creepiest character on here.
Fish. All right, we have a question from the audience from Gene.
You better come through with the questions, Gene.
Since you do not read the books, what's the most enjoyable part of the business for you? I think this is for Jackie.
Yes. So for me, I really like organizing and being creative. I get that from my mom. So the best part for me is packing up everything for the show, doing the displays, making sure everything looks really nice for the customers. And I also enjoy doing some of the grading. So Jason has actually taught me a lot about how to grade a book. Like he was saying earlier about like the spine ticks, the rolls, the bends, just really analyzing a book and putting a grade on it. I really enjoy doing that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, Jackie's actually a better grader than me, 100%. I'll put all my chips on it. And what's dope about grading is that a book, the price difference between a 9.8 and a 9.6, just 0.2 difference, can sometimes be the difference of hundreds of dollars. And with Jackie, thank God, I'll have a book and I'll ask her, is this 9.8 worthy? And she'll immediately tell me if it is or isn't. And that will help us to know what kind of profit we can make off a book. And like any book from the 70s and earlier, you can't get a 9.8 pretty much. It's almost near impossible because in those times, obviously, people weren't taking care of their books like we are now in this day and age where we know what these books may be worth in the future. So to have Jackie and know like, okay, I know what grade this is going to be, it's a blessing because she catches things. She's caught things that whole groups of people have not caught. And she'll look at it and in a heartbeat, she'll say there's a dent right here underneath. And you'll be like, holy crap, we didn't see that. So it's really cool to see that, how she's developed that.
She has a good eye.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Shout out to Jackie.
Okay, Jackie, you better come through.
So how long does it take you guys to set up at a convention or a pop-up shop?
Oh, you must love that question.
Yeah, so it takes about 2 hours. When we originally started, it was probably an hour or less. But now that we have gotten bigger and we put a lot of more focus and prioritize the way it looks, it takes about 2 hours now. And that's from unloading the truck, bringing everything inside, making it look pretty, putting the signs up, putting the business cards out, and then showtime. So about 2 hours.
Oh. Okay.
What time do you guys have to be there? Is each con start at the same time or no?
So typically the cons start at 10 a.m. Sometimes they have early entry, so it'll start at 9. So that means we would have to get there either at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m.
Oh. I got to drink coffee and eat something in the morning. So we got to
that's the Dunkin' ritual. She always, every time we get out the garage, she goes, "We're going to Dunkin', right?" And I'm like, "Yes, we'll stop at Dunkin'."
So how do you routine like for lunch breaks and store runs and stuff like that?
So we pack lunches, we pack juices, water, soda, whatever we got. I put it in my little lunch box, and that's it. We good.
Oh yeah. See, when I think we've been doing it for almost every con that we've been going to.
Oh, we've been to 3 now.
3.
You know what? We went to New York Comic Con for the first time, and you have to go downtown and get your tickets. And this guy in front of us was schooling us to everything you're supposed to bring and everything you're supposed to do, and everything. So we were able to bring lunch with us to each con. Because he said when you go to the cons, everything is expensive. And I was like, oh, okay. And I remember saying to myself, like, I'm glad somebody taught us this, or we'd have been down here spending unnecessary money.
Right.
Yeah, and sometimes Jackie has to kind of, curb me as far as giving me something to eat, because even me, when I worked in retail and I never took lunches, and I literally worked for hours in a row, and it just wasn't. I don't know if it's a New Yorker thing too, and that like we just work. We just
work and then don't take a lunch.
So Jackie would be like, "Do you want to eat?" And sometimes I'll be like, "You know what? I probably need to eat. I'm not really hungry, but I need to eat." And also, again, coming from that customer service aspect of my previous life, work life, I never sit down. I don't know if y'all noticed. Whenever you come through, I'm never sitting down. I never sit down. I'm always standing up. And so for me, I'm on my feet all day. I don't go behind too much. I like to interact with people. I like to interact with the books. So lunch is like non-existent, but thank God for Jackie.
Yeah.
Okay. Jackie said she got you on the lunch. It's funny you say that because Watson normally tells us when we have to eat. Because I'm normally I'll be in my own world and I'll forget to eat. Like it would be the last thing on my mind.
Same here.
I'm not hungry and I'm like, I don't never know when to eat.
Okay, so this is a statement. Gene says.
Not a question. Okay. They do not sit or leave their table or anything.
Yes, they don't. They really They really don't.
Especially, God forbid they ask a question. Jackie can answer a few questions, but obviously, again, I take pride in reading almost everything. I take a lot of pride in reading everything that's at the table. So if anyone got a question about any books, I'm always there to answer about a story. And I always want everyone's purchase to be meaningful. So anytime somebody's buying something, not anytime, but very frequently, I'll ask, are you sure you want this? Is this something you are in love with? Because if it's an impulse buy, you could put it down. We could find something better, or there might be someone that might have something that you love. But for the most part, I want people to buy from our area, our table, our website, because they love it and it resonates with them. So that's something that we take a lot of pride in.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that leads me into another question.
Yes.
Do you guys plan on selling anything else besides comic books?
Yeah, we're actually again, and it's a great question because we are Jjl Collectibles. We're not Jjl Comic Books. So we definitely branch out. For the most part, over the last year, we branch out in pieces. Yeah. I'm a big watch collector. Okay. So, I've been very lucky enough to get some great deals on Breitlings and Tudors and different watches. So I've amassed such a large watch collection that I don't really wear them that much. So I said to myself, let's start selling some watches. We put them on Instagram for people. They're luxury watches. Okay. I put them for prices that I paid for them, so people don't have to, waste an arm and a leg to get a great watch or a Grail watch, supposedly. Okay. Toys.
What type of
Watch brand.
Yeah, what brand are they?
Breitling. I have Breitling watches, Tudor watches. Tudor is actually a cousin of Rolex.
Okay.
And what's dope is that Tudor actually made the first ever Submariner. It wasn't Rolex. And a Submariner is a diver's watch. It's actually divers wear these watches go thousands of feet, thousands of meters below the surface of water. So Tudor's a great watch. Big fan of Ball. I don't know if you ever heard of Ball watches, but the cool story about Ball is the creator of Ball, when the railroads were crashing into each other back in like the 40s and 50s, they actually asked Ball to create a watch that would synchronize all of the trains. They would not crash into each other. So y'all look up Ball Watch Company. And and also sneakers, man. I'm a very big sneaker fanatic. At one point I owned like 300 pairs of sneakers.
Oh wow.
So like I'm a big like even Jackie's like, why do you keep buying sneakers? You don't wear them. And it's true. I'm a big Jordan 1 collector. I have about maybe 30 pairs of Jordan 1s that I've collected over my time. As you could see, the sports memorabilia that's behind me. You know, I actually have a lot of pieces of that. Again, I wish I could bring it to the cons, but obviously the cons are about comic books. But we have done sneaker cons. They haven't been very successful, obviously, because we mix the comic book and sneaker world together. And some sneaker people just don't like that. They think it's cool, but they don't want to buy nothing, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But for me, I think, you know, I like to dabble in coins. I like to dabble in, when it comes to collectibles, I want all of our supporters to know that if you collect it, just ask, and I'll probably find it for the price you need it for.
Yeah,
I'm really good at that. So we've had people ask to look for coins or memorabilia, and I will find it for them immediately. And I take a lot of pride in that. Just like that dude on Instagram that has like all the codes and all the cheat codes in life, or like when you pour the can of soda, and you know who I'm talking about, that really cool dude that's always in front of the mirror.
I think so. Yeah,
it's hilarious because he always has like all the life hacks, and he's gotten really big over the last few weeks. I love seeing him because he's like, he knows everything. He's like, you ever heard about the 11 herbs and spices? Well, I know them, and I'm gonna tell you them. So for me, I take a lot of pride in saying, you know what, if you need something, I can get it for you. So don't worry about it. You can trust in us.
Okay, welcome, and we got the Emery's in the building. We love the new name. All right. Gene says X, the fast food guy. Oh, the fast food. Okay.
Yeah, I love that dude, man. I love that dude. He gave me the code. Yeah, so you heard about Secret Invasion coming out on Disney Plus?
Mm-hmm.
So Secret Invasion, Nick Fury, you know Samuel L. Jackson's character.
I know who Nick Fury is.
So Nick Fury is going to have his own show in the middle of this month or the end of the month, where the Skrulls are like an alien. They first showed up in Miss Marvel. Remember the Miss Marvel movie?
I just watched that the other day.
So the Skrulls are,
I think, kidnapped at the end.
Yeah. So there's a website. So I think Secret Invasion waits for you or something like that. And when you go on the website, you have to put in a code, and no one knew the code, but the fast food guy knew the code.
Oh, wow.
And when I put the code in, I was like, oh crap, he knew the code. How did he get the code?
Yeah.
So I put the code in, and it just gives you like a 5-minute snippet of the show coming up, which is really dope.
Okay.
That's cool.
I see Nick Fury's character originally was Caucasian, and they wound up having an African American guy.
Yeah, and he's the greatest Nick Fury. The first Nick Fury in movies, I don't know, y'all know, was David Hasselhoff.
I might have known that. I'm not sure.
Man, and that movie was horrible. But when Nick Fury became, because Samuel L. Jackson's gonna play Samuel L. Jackson all the time. He Snakes on a Plane, all that. He's gonna be the same. I love that man.
Yeah, he played Shaft or Shane or.
You're right. He played Shaft. Man, he's amazing. And so he took Nick Fury to a whole nother level, man. And I think he's going to continue to do so.
Most definitely.
Gene says, how can you trust Wednesday the 21st?
Yeah, on June 21st, the Secret Invasion is coming to Disney Plus. I suggest everybody watch it. Honestly, because of Samuel L. Jackson. That man is one of the greatest actors of our time. And I like to see where he takes this. Because, he always shows up in the Marvel movies. He doesn't have like large roles, but for that man to have a predominantly large role, it's gonna be great.
Yeah. Okay.
So where do you see the boys going?
Oh man, I just see it getting wilder and wilder. But what I love is the writing of the boys. The writing really like they're just crazy. Whoever's writing the boys has an imagination out the wazoo, amazing. And I think obviously right now what they're working on the little boy went with so I think they're probably just going to continue working off of him, and I don't know if they're going to make him seem Hateful Eight, that was hilarious. So yeah, I just see it getting better and better. And y'all should check out Invincible too on Amazon Prime. That's a really good show as well.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I think
I didn't know that.
Wait, didn't know what?
So Vasquez Photo 71 said, love that he inspired the character in the Ultimates and was cool about them never asking permission. So yeah, just so y'all know, back in 2010, 2011, the Ultimate Universe was created by Brian Michael Bendis. It was an alternate universe of Spider-Man, Wolverine. It literally was an alternate universe. That's where Miles Morales was born. And so they took that Nick Fury African-American character and they pretty much, ran with it really well. And he's right. They didn't ask for Samuel L. Jackson's permission, but he just let him take it. Yeah, Invincible is great too.
Okay. All right.
Leo, if you like the boys, you'll like Invincible a lot as well.
Yeah, we got to check out some of these books and stuff. Okay.
So what do you think about Captain Marvel? I know it was I'm not sure if it was a girl first or a boy first, but I know it was supposed to be Shazam. He played Captain Marvel.
So great question. Shazam, it's funny because Shazam was the Captain Marvel of the DC universe.
Yeah.
And then I believe when Captain Marvel came out in the Marvel universe, there was a little bit of, arguing between DC and Marvel about copyrighting the character and, who has the rights to this name, Captain Marvel. And that's why Shazam was created from Captain Marvel. If you look up the Captain Marvel family, it was actually Fawcett Publications before DC actually owned Captain Marvel and the Captain Marvel family. And then DC, because again, I know a really great history of comic books in that, I don't know if y'all know, but there was a time when DC was going to own everything because Marvel could not afford their rents. They could not afford, they were not bringing.
I heard that, and they said Blade helped save them with the movie doing as well as it did.
Yeah, that's part of it. I'm talking about like in the 50s, like the 40s and 50s. There was a.
I wasn't born.
Yeah. So what I'll say to you about Captain Marvel is I love where they're going with the new Captain Marvel because there's a new movie coming out called The Marvels, and there's 3 Captain Marvels. There's Monica Rambeau, who is the African-American Captain Marvel, who I love that woman. Then you have Carol Danvers, the white Captain Marvel.
That's the one that Rogue takes her powers, yeah.
Yep, you got it, Miss Marvel. And then lastly, you have Kamala Khan, who is I don't want to mess this up. I want to say Indian of Indian descent, who's another dope Captain Marvel, but she's also the youngest Captain Marvel. So not only does she hit a different culture, but she hits a whole nother age group because now we're talking about a young teenage Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So what I love what they're doing with the Marvels is it's dope, right? We've got a older white woman Captain Marvel who's the classic one, the one that people grew up with. You got this dope black Captain Marvel who's in a kick ass. And then you have this young Captain Marvel who's like, wants to figure out, do I want to kick ass like Monica Rambeau, or do I want to be my own? Do I want to be an amalgamation of it all? I think it's going to be a really good story. And I really do appreciate what they're doing with that.
All right. We have one more question from Jean. She says, Miss Marvel, Camellia, something.
Kamala Khan is the only Pakistani superhero. She's right. So Kamala Khan is the only Pakistani superhero, which is really dope. And that's what we love to see. I love to see diversification in any medium, right? And again, Jackie, we love to see when there's these, young ladies that are coming to the Comic Cons because again, they're predominantly, a male dominated industry. So love to see more female writers, female artists like Chrissy Zullo, Peach Momoko, and they're getting all this crazy press because they're amazing artists and amazing creators. So for me, I'm always going to be a sucker for a really good female character until it becomes the norm. And then now we just got to figure out what is the next thing that, Marvel, DC, or Image, or any big company is going to say, hey, we need to show support for this group of people.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know, going back to Captain Marvel for a second. How did DC even get the right to use Captain Marvel if there's already Marvel Studio?
So good question. Good question. So I'll say that Marvel Studios was born from Stan Lee. I believe his wife had said, hey, you know, he was writing what the like, you know, the crime stuff and just, you know, like detective stuff. And then he created actually fantastic, you know, Stanley created all these great characters, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man. So I do believe that Captain Marvel, coming from Fawcett Publications, then came to DC. I think that they were able to just say, you know what, let's take off the Captain and just say Marvel. And I think they copyrighted Marvel as well. And that's where I think that whole argument was just shut down, in that Marvel was created. In 1963, we saw Spider-Man come into the game. We saw X-Men come into the game. We saw Fantastic Four. We saw Captain America. They copyrighted Marvel and they ran with it. And I do believe Marvel from the 70s, 80s, and 90s were the predominant publication. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, right, y'all? We were loving X-Men. We were loving Spider-Man. We were loving the Avengers, Captain America, Iron Man, which is one of the greatest comic book movies that ever came out.
Shout out to Iron Man.
But I will tell y'all, I truly feel like DC has a really good renaissance coming. I see something really big happening at DC.
I think their most popular character was Batman and Superman.
Oh, absolutely.
Batman was out for mad long.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like when you go to DC, you go to Batman before you go to Superman.
Yeah. I think you know, Blue Beetle, a movie called Blue Beetle is coming out in August.
The character is
that looks fun. I believe the character that plays him is a Mexican kid, actually, which is amazing. And
I thought it was a Spanish kid.
Yeah. And so I think that DC has a strong renaissance coming their way. I think they're going to really pick it up, and I think we're going to see some good books from them, and we're going to see some good movies from them.
Okay, we have
I think that's a statement.
James says effective morning. Hey.
Oh, okay. This is pretty cool, actually. The real that's a good friend of ours, Anil. So I'll tell y'all, James Gunn was the director for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And Guardians of the Galaxy pulled in a lot of people that did not read comic books. They just loved the movie.
Yeah.
You know, because remember, Guardians of the Galaxy did a really good job with music, where they remember how Star-Lord was like shooting stuff up and he was listening to old tunes, James Brown, really old school, great music. And James Gunn did a really good job with that franchise. He did Guardians of the Galaxy 1 through 3. So at some point, James Gunn said, hey, no, not even James Gunn. DC said, man, this guy is really good. We're going to bring him to DC. And what he meant by the James Gunn effect is James Gunn is going to take what he knows about making movies and he's going to bring that to DC. And I think that's where the renaissance begins, is James Gunn is going to do a really good job bringing these books that we read to the big screen in a way that Marvel did back in the early 2000s, right? Because everyone knows about the Avengers. Yeah. Everybody's mother knows about the Avengers, and everyone knows who Thanos is. Thanos has become like the stay-at-home mom. Like even they know about Thanos.
That's the guy with the rings.
Yeah. Like you know you made it when like a stay-at-home mom knows who you are. Like my mom knows who Drake is. My mom knows who Tupac is. There's very few artists in this world or just people in this world that have penetrated that status.
Yeah.
And I think that Thanos Avengers, they penetrated that status in this world. And it would be great to see what DC does with that, because that's great for the comic book community, right? People like us who read and love comic books, we're going to see the benefits from that. Us as a dealer, we're going to see the benefits because people are going to want to come and say, we got to go to Jason and Jackie for what we need because they got what we need. So
yeah,
I agree with him. James Gunn is going to do some great things at DC.
Okay.
I know that's right.
So speaking of that, you guys have a theme and a slogan for your business. What is it?
If you collect it, we can get it.
Oh wow. I love it.
And so for me, I'll tell you again, man, I will waste no time getting what people need. I have a brother who is very big into fashion, and he loves a lot of these expensive name brands that I just can't get with. I just can't, like Balenciaga, Prada, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, all that stuff.
Okay, so wait, why can't you get with them?
Me, because for me, honestly, I just I did, I wore some of that stuff growing up, but then I started to realize, man, some of these price points, man, I can get me a couple of nice regular sweaters and just look just as sexy as if I was to get myself a $3,000 Louis Vuitton sweater.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say with that is, if someone needs something from that realm, I will go get it for them for the price that they need it, and I won't do it. I'm not swiping cards. I'm not jacking UPS trucks. I'll get it. I'll get what they need. A great story I'll give y'all real quick. I had a customer who wanted the Dark Knight Returns 1 through 4, and he wanted it. He wanted it signed by the writer Frank Miller, who's a very famous writer. He wanted them all 4 graded, so he wanted them all 4 in cases.
Yeah. And
so it was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and he said, "Can you get me that?" I said, "Just tap me in, and I'll let me know when you want to get it." He goes, "You're tapped in, get it." So from 6 to 10 o'clock at night, I'm calling Canada. I'm messaging. I'm talking with people in Canada. I'm talking with people in Cali. That 4-book collection goes for anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000. By 10:30 at night, I let him know all 4 books are coming to me, and the price is $1,100.
Oh, wow.
So that probably was and that's why I love when people challenge me to find things. I don't get it as much, and I can't wait for it to happen more. But I love when people challenge me, in a positive way, to get them something. I'm working my butt off to get it for them as quickly as I can for the best price that I can. And just, and I delivered it to him in Ozone Park, Queens on a Saturday. I delivered all 4 books to him. And it was just a great feeling to say, hey, we got you your books about 2-3 weeks ago. They're coming in. Here's the price. I got them within a few hours, made a few phone calls, and you got them.
Okay. So when you
Marvel or DC?
DC.
You're a DC fan more than you're a Marvel fan?
Yeah, I would, and I'll tell you why.
Oh, wow.
You know what's crazy? If you would have asked me this 5 years ago, I'd say Marvel. I've been reading Batman, and I love the direction that Batman's going. My favorite character of all time is the Joker. So I will say, and this is crazy, the first ever series that they ever made for the Joker was back in 1975. So in 1975, the Joker came out with a book 1 through 9, and they never came out with a book ever since that day. And then the Joker now has resurfaced and has his own book, and he's had 2 series in the last 4 years. Oh, wow. So I guess DC drew me in because they took my favorite character and they said, hey, we're going to give him his own book. So you don't have to look for him in Batman books or Superman books, scarcely here and there. We're going to give you his own series. Yeah. And I've also been reading a lot of the new stuff. Like there's a book called Jjl. And I will say on the Marvel side, I only was reading Miles Morales for the last 5 years. Now is when I started reading a Fantastic Four, Iron Man, and other Marvel books. But I will tell you, writer-wise, again, I'm all about the writer. And my favorite writers are on DC right now, so I'm going to rock with DC.
Oh, wow. Okay. Where are we?
It's funny you said Joker because I feel like that about Harley Quinn. Like she's really spun off and became her own thing now.
Oh man, she's a juggernaut in this industry. She first came out in Adventure. Remember, Harley Quinn first showed up in the cartoon, and they decided to pull her from the cartoon into the game, into the movies. I mean, into the comic books.
Okay.
I watched a lot of the animated series growing up more than I did reading the comics.
Oh, I love that series.
I'm like familiar with some of the characters.
Batman the animated series taught me that I can do my homework within a half hour. Because when I came home, my grandmother would say, "You're not watching no TV until you finish your homework." And I believe it started at 4:30 or 5, and I got home like at 3:30. So actually, Batman the animated series and my grandmother taught me to do most of my homework in school so that when I get home, I could just watch TV.
Wow.
I know that's right.
That's amazing.
We have a question from Jean.
She says, taking the superhero fiction out of the equation between Marvel and DC, who does more relatable characters? Example, Shrek, Parker, Wayne, Marvels, etc.
I got you. So taking out the superhero aspect, who has more relatable? So that's a great question. I will say that answer is it's grand in that, well, look at these people, right? Tony Stark. Tony Stark was, dude that inherited his family's billions, and he decided to do something better with it. But at the end of the day, he still was fed a silver spoon, right? So in that aspect, only those that were fed with silver spoons and did something with those silver spoons for better, they can relate, right? There's people out there that were fed silver spoons, but they still are doing the best that they could do for the world, for the community. They're going to third world countries to feed people, give them water, do things like that. So that's a relatable character. Now you got Peter Parker, right? Peter Parker, if I'm not mistaken, no mom, no dad. Aunt May raised him. Uncle Ben died. Not the rice, but the actual Uncle Ben died. So with that being said, right, I can relate to Peter Parker because, my grandma raised me. My mom definitely was around, but my mom worked from morning to nighttime. And my friends didn't even know I had a mom. They just knew I had a grandma because my mom would come home around the time that my friends were going home to their place, back to their places.
Yeah.
So for me, Peter Parker, right, relates to the young man growing up inner city, no parents, doesn't know what to do. Aunt May is raising him, not being raised by a male figure, so doesn't really know what to do when it comes to the male aspects of this world. Me, I didn't know how to shave and things like that until I got older and my uncle taught me. So he relates there. Miles Morales, Black and Hispanic Spider-Man. He's got a mom that's like up his ass, like any other Puerto Rican mom. So I can relate to that. He's got a dope Black dad that's just like super stern and believes in himself and just wants to be the best dad he could be to his son.
Yeah.
I can relate to that, not personally, but I've seen that. I've seen a strong Black dad be the best dad he could be to his son. And I can only say, man, God bless him. And I'm lucky that I was even able to be in that man's presence. And then the last one, if I'm not mistaken, Bruce Wayne. So Bruce Wayne, right? Mom and dad, got killed. Not many people can probably relate to that because I don't know.
They kind of changed the story though, right?
Exactly. Not many people's parents were killed in a dark alley. But I will say, daddy and mommy issues. Like Bruce Wayne has some serious issues. Like he just has serious issues. And there's a lot of people in this world that have those type of issues. So that's a great question. And the best answer to give to that is it all depends on the character. See, I was also raised by my grandma. And again, so many people out, can relate to these characters. And I love that question. The beginning of it is peel away the superhero and break it down to its most common denominator, human beings. And I think anybody can relate to anybody. And I think that's why all children need to read comic books, man. I think it should be mandatory that we read comic books so that we can find another world that we can relate to that's not in our iPad, in our iPhone, in the movie theater, on TV. It's a piece of paper with letters on it and pictures.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Nowadays, the kids just have iPads and other stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So swing around real quick. Let me just ask you. What can people expect from your YouTube channel coming up?
Oh man, so we're gonna revamp it. I will say, we love the tours. We did a tour video, and that video had how many views?
Probably like 6,500.
Man, so we were used to getting low views, right? And this tour, it breeded over 6,000 views. It was one of the greatest tours we've ever been to. And it's actually my mentor, this guy named Neil, who runs a shop in Altoona, Pennsylvania called the Comic Vault. Okay. And it's the most amazing store ever. And I'll give you an example. So these books here, these are what's called blue label CGCs. A blue label is pretty much a universal grade. I sent this book in and it became this.
Okay.
Now I don't have one with me, but yellow label book is when a book has been signed. So this is just a raw book. It's not a CGC, but look at all the signatures.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot of signatures.
So that man, Neil, in his store has over 300 books with nothing but signatures or artists' little sketches and doodles. He has no books with this color inside that shop.
Oh, wow.
And those CGC books, we're talking about he has to go to shows, he has to stand online, he has to get people to sign it, he's got to get people to witness the book, he's got to get that book graded. This man is one of the most greatest gifts to the comic book community in Altoona. And it was so dope getting all those views and just bringing him to the forefront of our world. So you're going to see more tour stuff. You're going to see more interactive stuff with, Jackie. We're going to do a video of us traveling to a Comic-Con. What does that look like from the morning to the end of the day?
Yeah.
Jackie wants to do that. And I want to do more reviews, and it's funny because this is the first time you're hearing this. And I hope you like it, in that I don't want to do reviews of comic books, just like one book. I would love for Jackie to take out 5 books and just show the book on the screen. And I just give a quick 2-3 minute explanation of the book. And then we move on to the next book. And I hope that someone would look at that video and say, okay, so he's looking at like 5 to 10 books. He's giving a 1-minute summary to see if I want to read it. And then someone will come and read it versus just dedicating like a 5-minute review on just one book. Something I've been thinking about. And I just want to draw in the people more.
I'll approve that message.
Okay. We are looking forward to it. All right, we have a question from the audience from Jean. She said, "This is why comics are the best. There is something for everyone. My daughter learned to read with the help of comic books." Oh, wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's how I learned. My brother made me read The Crow at like 9 years old. And The Crow is like literally about, death, despair, and just the saddest story. And he made me read it with a dictionary in my hand because I had to learn the words. And my brother would be like, when you're done reading the book, I need you to tell me some of the words that you read. I need you to give me the definitions. And reading comic books really helped me with that. And it helped me with my diction and just speaking and being able to speak to people. That I think comic books are, man, there's some of it's what fuels us as a company. And, I'm indebted to it.
I know that's right. You want to show the channel or you want to keep
one more? Well, we got extra 2 more and then we can show. Oh, so do you see yourself becoming monetized on YouTube?
Oh man, that's a good question, Jackie. What would be the answer to that? You
in the future, maybe, yeah.
She's more of the YouTube CFO here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Like to,
The idea honestly was born from two places. It was me at comic shows, always talking about the stories, and Jackie was like, "You need to look at that. You need to talk about this on the YouTube channel." And also, Jackie, was born from Jackie watching YouTube during the pandemic and seeing all these people, grow from something so simple as just being in front of a camera. So Jackie put both of them together, and she married them and said, "Jason, I want you to do this." And honestly, for me, it became a little difficult because I read so many comic books and I don't write down the summaries that I can't go in depth as much as I would like to. Like I can't be like, "Oh, right, well, the book you're reading was about Leo and Wanston, and Leo went here and Wanston." I sometimes don't remember the names, and it sucks because they're great stories and I know the story, but I don't remember some of the details that would be really good for someone watching a review. Because I read so much. So either obviously I have to write down a lot of this stuff because I read so much, or try something different so that we can draw on people.
Most definitely.
The Real Teach Greek says YouTube is now allowing 500 subscribers for ads. Yeah, they are, but that does not mean that you're monetized.
Okay.
There is a YouTube guideline and policy. This was like maybe last year or the year before, where they even if you have 2 subscribers or 50 subscribers, they're gonna put ads on your video. So that doesn't mean that you specifically is gonna get paid from it. It's just that they're putting ads on your video. Remember, you're using their platform so they could do whatever they want to do.
Okay.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay, my next question is, seeing how you collect comic books, have you ever thought of making your own comic book yourself?
Man, I have. I think that I got a good couple of ideas in this big old head of mine as far as just writing, and obviously I'm not an artist, and I would love to figure out what I can write about, what I can do, and my biggest I think love of it all would be to write it and then give it to the artist and see how the artist brings it to life. Because that's how comic books happen. They literally write a script. You give the script to the artist and the artist brings it to life, which I didn't know that. I honestly thought like it's two people sitting next to each other and they're drawing like, okay, you draw this when I write this. It's literally a writer writing an, being an architect of a book.
Yeah.
The artist kind of interprets what he sees. I would say I see that really long down the line if I could. Very long down the line, as long as we kind of, get strong with this whole collectibles business and getting books to people.
Well, why do you say long down the line?
Well, I say long down the line because I definitely want to give myself a few years of being in the game as far as getting books to people and focusing more on selling books, getting books to people, getting books graded. Like when we became a CGC dealer, man, it hit me. I'm literally getting like 30, 40 books every 2 weeks. Where before I was sending out like 30, 40 books like once every other month.
Oh, wow.
So it's taken a lot of my time. I'm honored to do it. I love doing it. And we also offer pre-screens, which it's become hard because when people give me 20, 30 books, I have to now look at every book. We don't charge for that. We just do it for free. But it does take up some time. And I definitely, got to figure that part out. But because of that, obviously, I don't have the time to look at other things like writing or branching. I'm someone who, when I learn something or when I do something, I want to do it 110% close to perfection. And then I'll go to the next plateau, which is writing or something like that. So I definitely want to work on our craft of getting stuff graded for people, getting it fast to them, selling books to people, getting books to people, collecting books, reading books. And as I learn more and more and I get better at it, I got a story or two up my sleeve.
Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
So, guys, at this time now, we are going to show Jjl Collectibles channel and also website.
Okay, get your JJL on.
All right. So let us share. Okay. All right, guys. So this is their channel. Guys, they are almost on their way to 200 subscribers. They have 156. Make sure that you go on over and you subscribe to their channel. As you guys see from previous videos, there's Jason, this is Jackie. Go on over and check out these amazing videos that they have, guys. They're well over, almost hitting towards 200 subscribers. Okay. And here we have the video here that they're talking about, the Comic Valet Store Tour. All right, guys. So make sure you check that out as well. Okay.
Thank you, y'all.
Anytime. All right. So now we are going to go to the store. Hold on just a moment.
Okay. Yeah, the store is definitely like our pride and joy because we try to make it as detailed as possible, the same way it is when you come visit us at the cons, where we literally break down superheroes, we break down the Marvel companies, what books we have and everything. Oh, that's the eBay store.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, yeah, if anybody wants to go to the web, don't worry about it. It's jjlcollectibles.com.
Okay, so let me. All right.
Actually, I can't wait for y'all to see this because we just put we have a new spokesperson on the page.
Oh.
Okay, so hold on. Let me see. Because so it's jjlcollectibles.com.
Yep, just like that.
Okay, 1 second.
And what's dope is our prices are lower on our website. Unfortunately, we have to mark up our prices on eBay because of the percentages. So I wish like the world knew that and they would just go to the website because it's cheaper. But unfortunately, a lot of people still buy from eBay, but we're still trying to get people up on it. But our prices are a lot better on the website.
Okay. Hold on, guys. Okay, so I found it. So, guys, now we're going to show the eBay store, and then we're going to go over to the website, which will also be in the description after this live. Okay, so this is the eBay store, guys. So make sure that you go over and you also check it out as well. Okay. All right.
Wait, go back down. Go up. Stop. I seen this book at the thing, the Comic Con.
That is a very special book. It's only 100 books. 100 copies were made of that book, and this is a great example, y'all, of something really dope for us. That book on eBay goes no lower than $50. And
oh wow!
We're able to get a couple of copies for a really good price. We're able to give that to someone, and they can take advantage of that better price because we got a better price. So whenever you see a Jjl Collectibles book and you see the price point on it, if it's a high price point, it's honestly probably because we bought it at a higher price, so we have to lift the margin. But for the most part, we try to put the prices as close as possible to, something we paid or lower, so that someone can be able to buy it and get it for a good price.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to check out their website, guys. Like I said, we're gonna put it.
I think I was standing in front of the guy because I had picked up the book when it was on the table. But I don't know if that was the guy because the picture looked different from the person that was sitting there. So I was like, I don't know if this is the same person from the picture.
No, yeah, the artist name is Jvan Jordan, who's really dope dude. He does a lot of hip hop homage stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my favorite part. So as you can see, you have pre-code horror. Everything's categorized really well. So you got convention exclusive Marvel Comics, and then when you open Marvel Comics, or actually scroll down, there you go. There goes our mascot.
Oh, all right, Miss Jackie.
Hey, Jackie.
We make a little joke, y'all. A lot of people, obviously, I find the character. Do you see the character next to her named Twig? There's a little blue guy.
Yeah.
See how she's posing like him?
Oh, wow.
The inside joke is that she's my little Twiggies because that damn character is so damn cute. And obviously, Jackie don't look like no blue monster, but she's so damn cute that I kind of always say she's my little Twig.
Okay, so this is their website, guys. As you can see,
like
they are a associated dealer, which we will have them explain in a moment for those that don't know. So please go over and check out all these amazing comics. All right, and as you can see, all sorts of payment down here. Amazon, Air Max, Apple Pay, all kind of payment, guys.
Okay, get your payment on.
All right, and you have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can follow them on all social platforms. All right, and then they have Artist Alley, guys. So look at these.
Artist Alley is really dope, y'all. It's pretty much blank covers for any artist up in the game, any starving artists, people coming up. We have a lot of exclusive blank covers for people if they ever need it.
Oh wow. Okay, and then they got the signature series. Any series that you like, they got it.
Yeah, anything.
Wow. This website is amazing. All right, and this is the home page. All right, and then we have the contact page where you can contact them.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, you guys are on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jackie set that up for me. I'm not too good with that social media stuff, so she helped me out.
Okay, so this is all their social media right here. All right.
Click on the Facebook real quick.
Oh, you want me to open it? It's the same thing.
Oh, it's a like page.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
No, I'm saying we have a like page too.
Yeah. So, well, tell us for those that don't know, what is a associated dealer?
All right, so a CGC authorized dealer, CGC stands for Certified Guaranteed Company. And one thing that's really dope about the Certified Guaranteed Company is it's a big company and it literally certifies all types of collectibles. So they do video games, they do cards, they do comic books, they do coins, they do posters. They literally take anything and say, we're going to put it in a case and we're going to make sure that it never gets messed up.
Okay.
So pretty much certified. And what's dope is Jay-Z actually owns a very big chunk of CGC, which makes me very proud to say that we're an authorized dealer, because obviously someone like Jay-Z, who is a very successful businessman, if he's touching it, that means it's going to last for a long time. And
that would explain how he became a billionaire.
Yep.
That's
So
amazing.
CGC was born in 2000, and I'll give you a quick story. Before CGC came along, people graded books according to letters. So books were graded as poor, good, fine, very fine, and near mint and mint condition. So it was only like 5 or 6 words that described the book. And when you sold a book to someone, that letter grading was so broad that it was very difficult to say, well, this book, a near mint book might look way different from another near mint book, depending on creases, problem, imperfections and things like that. Yeah. CGC decided and said, we're going to take that letter format and we're going to number it. So we're going to number books are going to be graded on a number scale. So 0.5, 1.0, 1.5, 2.0, all the way up to 10.0. But to get a 10.0, that book has to literally come off the printing press and go straight to the grader. So the highest grade achievable would be a 9.8 right now for normal consumers. We have some books that are 9.9, and I do want to get some books that are 10.0 just to show people.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
To be an authorized dealer, we had to get a lot of people to co-sign on us as a collectibles company. So we got a lot of comic book stores to actually back us up when we wrote our application. And when you're a CGC dealer, you're able to take people's books and say, I'll take your books and I will send them to CGC for you to make sure they get graded. I will make sure it's a smooth process. I will do the mailing. I'll take care of the handling.
So what happens if it's a poor grade? Does that affect the book or the person bought it? Or
yeah, that's a great answer to your question. It does affect the grade and the person who bought it because it could really hurt some feelings sometimes. And what I'll tell you is, so I'll give you an example, right? So like again, 9.8. So a 9.8 is the most achievable for your normal consumer, right? And so a 9.8, 3 people look at the book before it gets a final grade. So someone will say it's a 9.8, someone will say it's a 9.0, and someone will say it's a 9.2. They all 3 have to come to a median number, and that's the number that your book gets. There are controversies of, I sent the book and I thought it was a 9.8 and it comes back a 7.5. I've seen that and I've heard of that, and it's happened to me, but I've never gone angry about it because, again, these people are professional graders. They're looking at books under yellow lights, under blue lights, with magnifying glass, under natural light. They're looking at every single page. They're taking into consideration every single nook and cranny of a comic book. So when a book comes back a low grade, it does affect people because some people are like, crap, man, I wanted a better grade, either because I wanted a better grade for myself or I want to be able to sell it. So, for us, I've had over 1,000 books graded in my life, maybe 2,000-3,000 books graded. And out of those 2,000-3,000 books, I've gotten a good, 2% back of grades that I just didn't really want to get. Mm-hmm. But one thing we do is we have pressers on deck, meaning we have people that press books. So if you ever have a low grade book, I'll just send it to my presser. He'll press out the imperfections. We send it to CGC and we get some high grades.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for explaining that. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
All right, guys. Well, Jjl Collectibles, Jason and Jackie, what would you like folks to gain from this interview on tonight?
That's another great question because I spoke to Jackie about this, and I think we spoke briefly about it. I just want people to be educated on the collectibles industry, obviously mainly the comic book industry that we are very aware of. I want people to understand a little bit of the history of the comic books. I want people to understand what comic books can mean to them and how important they are to our culture and every gender, every color, every race, every religion. It brings us all together. And that's one thing I love about comic books, right? With comic books, there are no barriers. Everyone relates because, again, everyone loves Spider-Man. Everyone loves Iron Man. Think about it, right? Comic books is one of the only cultures that a 40-year-old man like me can relate to a 3-year-old. Literally, right? Because I can't relate to a 3-year-old on a pacifier, and I can't relate to a 3-year-old on a Gerber baby food, even though I'm not, because some of it tastes really good. But besides that, I can relate to a 3-year-old on Spider-Man. And I want people to understand the importance of that culture. And I guess the other thing I want them to take away from it is that we are very authentic to this culture. We're not quote unquote culture vultures. We're not in here just to make a quick buck, and we're not in here, appropriating the comic book culture. I read it every day. I'm part of it. I know my stories. I know my books. I know how to grade. Jackie knows how to grade. So I want people to know the two things. The big takeaways would be how important the culture is to every race, creed, religion, like I said, whatever. And number two is that we are authentic. We are as authentic as can get when it comes to anything. But when it comes to what we're doing in this business, we are authentic, and we will take care of whoever we need to take care of to get what they need.
I would say for sure is what people can get. Watch very simple, easy with collection through that is a very long convention.
Oh, fear of missing out. So I would say fear of missing out is what people can get wretched very easily with collectibles. That's a really good comment. It's funny. It's funny he says that, Leo Watson, because I've learned to let that go. Where it was easy to let it go in the beginning, but sometimes as a dealer, as a collector, you get a book and you say, "Hey, man, I just sold this book to somebody for $10, and now this book is worth $300." And it's like, holy crap, should I have held it? But again, hindsight's 2020. And number two is that person got a really dope book that they can sell years down the line, and they can help their family come up, because that book might be worth thousands of dollars, and they'll be able to take a book and get a down payment for their first car from a comic book.
Yeah.
The beauty of this all, in that we don't care. If I sell a book for $1 and that book goes worth hundreds of dollars in the future, man, that's freaking awesome.
Great.
Let that kid win, and let them win hard. So fear of missing out is true. In the collectibles industry, you get scared because even recently, right, there's a book that came out called Void Rivals. Have y'all heard about this at all?
Mm-mm.
So I'm gonna tell y'all something crazy. Transformers and G.I. Joe is owned by Hasbro Toys, the toy company, right?
Yeah.
And in the beginning, in the 70s, Marvel owned the rights to G.I. Joe and Transformers.
Oh wow! I didn't know
wow!
Then decades later, IDW picked up the licensing for Transformers and G.I. Joe. So Image Comics recently said we're coming out with a new book called Void Rivals. And everybody was like, what's this book all about? We're just finding out yesterday that the last page in Void Rivals shows the Transformers, because the Transformers and G.I. Joe, IDW lost the licensing, and now Image Comics has the licensing for Transformers and G.I. Joe.
Oh wow!
So
they can't get the license back?
No, because it's just like the NBA, right? With jerseys, right? Remember when Adidas was owning the jerseys, and then it went to Nike, and then there's a contract for a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it. Transformers and G.I. Joe, they didn't do so well with IDW that the Hasbro company said, we're going to look for somebody else to take this.
Yeah.
And who owns the rights to it now? Robert Kirkman, the guy that created The Walking Dead.
Oh, wow.
So if you think about it, right, this man that Robert Kirkman is super dope. Some of the greatest books, Oblivion Song. He's written Walking Dead, obviously. He's written Firepower. He took the way he did it is so dope. He said, I'm going to come out with Void Rivals. I don't know what I'm going to even talk about, but I'm going to throw the Transformers in the last page because I own Transformers now, and I'm going to take them to a different level.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about that.
All right. Yes. Thank you all so much for coming in. Welcome in. We got Shonda's Everyday Life. Thank you so much. Hey, Shonda.
Hey, Shonda.
And also to all of you guys that's in the chat, make sure you connect with our guests on tonight. Whosoever can get to CGC with a high grade quicker and turn around, then that will
no doubt sell for $3K.
Wow.
Well, I'll translate this to y'all because I'm getting a couple. In that book, Void Rivals, they released a special cover. And in that cover shows a Transformer on the cover, which is a very big deal because it's like, oh, spoiler alert, we got the Transformers. That book, you had to buy 100 copies of the main book to be able to even get one of those books with the Transformer cover. And that book went for $100 2 days ago. You cannot get that book for less than $200 now. And if you get that book graded, we're talking about $500 to $1,000 easy. And we want a few of those. Number one, because I want one for myself, and I also want to be able to sell it to people for a few $100 so that it's not too much, and they can own it, and they can have a piece of history. That the Transformers are now with Image Comics, which is super dope.
Yeah, JL, get me that book.
Oh, yeah, JJL, get me that book.
I got you, Neil.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, this was another amazing interview by yours truly. We want to say thank you so much to Jjl Collectibles for coming to the show.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
guys.
so much for having us. Seriously, from the bottom
And
of
y'all come back anytime.
Anytime. Well, guys, I'm Winston.
And I'm Leo.
And our guest is
Jjl Collectibles.
Yes, guys. So we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye, everybody. Take care.
Bye, everybody. Have a great night.
Hey, turn me up a little. Yeah. Let me get a little more. They know who we at, man. Yeah.
Welcome, y'all. This is Jason and Jackie with Jjl Collectibles. We're here at